back to the Build a Trader YouTube channel. It's been a few weeks. I definitely missed you all. I hope you all missed me. In this video, we'll be going over the weekly economic news as well as our technical analysis for the trading pairs that we cover. This past week in the market was absolutely crazy. We had gold making new all-time highs as well as major U.S. indices and equities make new major lows. This upcoming trading week is going to just be continuing off of last week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and cover the economic news for the upcoming week. Alrighty, upcoming on Monday, we have no medium or high impact news events. On Tuesday, 7 a.m. for the Canadian dollar, we have medium impact news, which is IB Purchasing Managers Index. Later that evening during Asia session at 7 p.m., we have high impact news for the New Zealand dollar, which is official cash rate and Reserve Bank of New Zealand rate statement. On top of that, we also have high impact news for the Japanese yen. Bank of Japan Governor Ura speaks. Wednesday, 11 a.m. during New York session, we have high impact news for the US dollar, which is FOMC meeting minutes. Later that evening during Asia session, we have medium impact news for the Chinese yuan, which is Consumer Price Index and Producer Price Index. Thursday, 3 a.m., this would be during London-New York crossover. We have high impact news for the Australian dollar, which is the Reserve Bank of Australia. Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Bullock speaks. Later that morning, pre-New York Open, we have core CPI for the US dollar, which is Consumer Price Index. Core CPI does not include food and energy data. Regular CPI does. So Consumer Price Index, which is a measure of inflation as well as unemployment claims. Later that evening during pre-London Open, we have high impact news for the Great British Pound, which is gross domestic product. Friday, 5:30 a.m., pre-New York Open, we have the core Producer Price Index as well as Producer Price Index. Following that, we have preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. Overall, this week is looking to be a great week. Lots of high impact news, lots of upcoming trading opportunities. We just got to be on the charts, be ready to take advantage of the opportunities that come our way, and simply be ready to execute. We have lots of high impact news for the US dollar this week. That's what's primarily going to be moving the market. So be aware during New York session that there will be most likely some type of high impact news shortly after the time frame you're trading or during the time frame you're trading. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the charts. We're going to start with gold. So as you can see here, the market just opened 10 minutes and 45 seconds ago. So we can see gold here open bearish to start the week. On the right hand side, we're going to zoom out to the weekly time frame. On the left hand side, we're going to be on the daily time frame. You can see our previous week's high up here and the previous week's low, which has just been taken out by this opening week's candle. So far, gold looks like we're going to be headed lower this week. Overall targets are looking to be $29.60, $29.50 price range down here where this major level of support is. A short-term area that we may react from is $29.80. If we zoom in some here on the 12-hour time frame, we can see some type of area the market may react from here. $29.80, $29.78 price range here, right where the zone is. On the left-hand side, going down to the 4-hour time frame. On the right-hand side, 12-hour time frame. If price reacts on this particular zone, we could see a bullish move, potentially up to the weekly open, or where price has broken this low at. So around 30.25 to 30.40 price range. On the weekly time frame, we could flip bullish to push up and retest one of these areas at 30.80 potentially, and maybe even beyond 3100 before continuing lower. Overall, based on how heavy volume, based on how much bearish volume has stepped into the market, just at this market open, most likely $29.50 is going to be coming here shortly. Overall, price may come down to that 29.80 price range, hit a reaction just like we're seeing now, and break above this weekly high that we created. Keep moving bullish up to the 30.80, 39, 3100 price range. Yeah, there's lots of volatility right now. Lots of buyers stepping in to buy that major low off of that fast volatility, off of that major volume, and scalpers can either take a quick profit or continue holding. But either way, this just moved quite a bit in just 1 minute here. Look at this 1 minute candle. 29.95 up to where we're currently at, 30.28. That's nearly a $37 move, $35 move, 350 pip move in 1 minute. Crazy. But yeah, these are the market conditions that we've been seeing lately. High volatility, strong volume. NASDAQ did something similar, as well as US 30 last week. You know, it's quite a time to be involved in the markets, especially if you know what's happening and what to look out for. This is the setup I am seeing though. Stop loss down here, targeting 30.80. It's going to be a pretty good trade setup, especially if you can get your stop loss below the wick or halfway through it. Find a good pullback opportunity. But so far, this looks like liquidity was taken. Retested this area, and going to push higher up to 30.80, 3100 price range. Next, we're going to be looking at silver here. Silver, same thing. Open heavily bearish, strong bearish price, strong bearish volume. Stepping into the market. Market open. We open at 29.56. We are now at 28.50, 28.68. Very volatile right now, but we hit a low at just below $28, $27.99. So 29.50 to 27.99. Quite a big move. $1.50 move on silver here just to start the week. We can see our previous week's, this isn't quite right, previous week's lows down here. Previous week's high is going to be this wick here. As you can see, strong bearish price, strong bearish volume close last week. Overall, looking to push lower to 26.50. We could see a reaction from where we're currently at now, 27.60 price range, 28 to 27.60 price range. Might be able to get a retest around the $30 price range up to $31 up to this point. So maybe something like this. But overall, still downside remains, further downside remains towards the 26.50 price range, with potential for price to push to 30 to 30.50 to 31 this week. Overall bearish though. If we zoom in a little more, 12-hour time frame on the left hand side, we're going to go to the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, up at 31 is the previous month's low right here. I'm not sure if why it's not showing on the right. There it is. Previous month's low. Price just may come up and retest this area before continuing lower. So far, silver bearish, short term bullish up to 30, 30.50, and potentially 31. Next, we'll be looking at the US indices. We'll start with the NASDAQ 100 here. NASDAQ opened heavily bearish to start the week. We can see 17,300 was around the opening price, 17,376 to be exact. We hit a low of 16,424, so nearly 1,000 points just to start the week within the first 17 minutes here. Current price is 16,617. Overall, heavily bearish. If we zoom out, look at the monthly time frame, strong bearish candles. We can see this major low has been taken out. We're in an area where price may react heavily from. If we zoom out back to the weekly time frame, we can see quite a bit here. Overall, price is looking like we may come up and retest where we opened, right where this candle opened. Here is 17,376, 17,375 to be exact. There are further downside targets if price continues moving bearish, which is likely given the heavy volume we're seeing. But I do believe that we will see some type of bullish move before we continue lower. If we break above 17,375, the weekly open, we might see 18,000 up to 18,400 and potentially 19,000 before continuing much lower, potentially lower, down to the 15,000 price range to 14,000 price range, this area down here. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that arrow anymore. But as you can see, there's a clear downside range. There is a range to the upside that price may fill before going lower. Overall, price is bearish on the higher time frame with potential to move lower towards 15,000, 14,000 price range for the NASDAQ 100. Next, we'll be looking at the S&P 500 SPX. As you can see on the right hand side, major bearish candle on the monthly time frame. If we zoom out, we can see price actually gapped lower this week to open. We have a major gap on the S&P 500 to start the week. So we have a 4% gap from where we closed to where we just opened. That would be 200 points. And current price is exactly 200 points. So we fell about 230 points to start the week. And looking to continue moving lower. There is an upside range that price may fill though, given that space here from the gap that we just made. So price may come up, refill this area, and continue down lower. There's a really big downside range on the S&P 500 if we continue moving lower. Oh, let's fix that. There is an area we may react from, which is where we're currently at. Actually a little bit lower, but there's a zone right here that price may react from, push higher, and then continue lower. There is a key level right here that needs to be marked off, right at the bottom of that zone, which is also lining up with the previous area of resistance. So we could see 46,000, 45,000 price point for the S&P 500. Overall bearish, may move bullish to start the week based on this gap here, to fill in this gap and set up with potentially something like this. Target 51 up to 52, 52.50. Still good risk reward trade on this. Overall counter trend, but looking to potentially fill this range here. Just can't believe that. It's a really big gap though to start the week. That's significant, but also exciting. This week is going to have a lot of volume, just like last week. We're just going to keep on moving. Lastly, I'm going to cover Bitcoin, and this is our last pair for the week. On the right hand side, we're on the weekly time frame. Current price is $78,722 per coin. As you can see in the weekly time frame, we have a nice bearish structure being created. We have a retest of this broken support, lower high, bearish candle, one more attempt, and rejection. On the daily time frame, you can see liquidity was taken, higher high tried to be created, lower is respected, tried to make another push, rejected, and failed, which created this bearish candle and this nice wick. Strong bearish volume on Bitcoin, looking to fill this downside range, targeting 70,000 and potentially 60,000, maybe even lower if we zoom out to the monthly time frame. Yeah, 60,000 it looks to be in play. 70 to 60,000 is looking realistic for Bitcoin coming possibly later this month, just based on this strong, heavily bearish candle. The major low that we're currently at is right below 80,000. Once the support is potentially broken, it's just going to fill this downside range with lots of heavy volume. For those trying to dollar cost average into crypto and into Bitcoin, this is a good price to buy at the lows, and just keep in mind it's going to most likely go lower, so you can definitely buy at a better price. That's all I have for you guys this week in terms of analysis and news. If you are new here, go ahead and join my free Telegram channel. Link is in the video description. I am looking to call a few more signals this week. I have not been quite as active as I'd like these past few weeks, given my other responsibilities I'm involved in, which is I'm currently studying for my Series 7. We've been doing that since the beginning of February, so we're over a third of the way through the content, the course material, and looking to take that exam in June. So at that point, be hopefully fully licensed. As you all know, I already have my Series 65 and Series 63. I'm also studying Korean every single week, going through this language learning course and meeting with a private tutor online once to twice per week. So right now, I don't speak that good Korean, or that good of Korean. 한국어 조금밖에 못해요. That means I don't speak Korean that well, but we are learning, and hopefully in 2 months, around June timeframe, I will be technically a beginner level Korean speaker. Go ahead and follow me on X, Instagram, TikTok. Usernames and links are in the video description. Hope you all have a nice weekend, and thanks for tuning in. Peace.